The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Glory to you, O Lord. The book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham became the father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob, Jacob the father of Judah and his brothers. Judah became the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Perez became the father of Hezron, Hezron the father of Ram, Ram the father of Amminadab. Amminadab became the father of Nahshon, Nahshon the father of Salmon, Salmon the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Boaz became the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Obed became the father of Jesse, Jesse the father of David, who became the king. David became the father of Solomon, whose mother had been the wife of Uriah. Solomon became the father of Rehoboam, Rehoboam the father of Abijah, Abijah the father of Asaph, Asaph the father of Jehoshaphat, Jehoshaphat the father of Joram, Joram the father of Uzziah, Uzziah became the father of Jotham, Jotham was the father of Ahaz, Ahaz the father of Hezekiah. Hezekiah became the father of Manasseh, Manasseh the father of Amos, Amos the father of Josiah. Josiah became the father of Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the Babylonian exile. After the Babylonian exile, Jeconiah became the father of Shealtiel, Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel, Zerubbabel the father of Abiud. Abiud became the father of Eliakim, Eliakim the father of Azor, Azor the father of Zadok, Zadok the father of Achim, Achim the father of Eliud. Eliud was the father of Eleazar. Eleazar was the father of Matthan, Matthan the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary. Of her was born Jesus, who is called Christ. Now this is how the birth of Jesus Christ came about. When his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, but before they lived together, Mary was found with child through the Holy Spirit. Joseph, her husband, since he was a righteous man, yet unwilling to expose her to shame, decided to divorce her quietly. Such was his intention when, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary, your wife, into your home, for it is through the Holy Spirit that this child has been conceived in her. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet, "Behold, the virgin shall be called child. Behold, the virgin shall be with child and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel," which means God with us. The Gospel of the Lord. Oops, I'm sorry, there was a short form. We didn't have to read all those names. We should have a quiz anyways. Who was the father of Eliaham? Oh, come on. It's September already. I don't believe we've heard the genealogy this year as yet. Probably won't hear it again between now and Christmas. So it's good to hear, and the names, of course, are familiar to us, but, who's going to remember, all the particular connections? And what did we read? 4, maybe 5 women there because of their pertinence and their role of the ancestry of our own humanity. That's really why it's here today. Not only does it ground Mary in her humanity, when the genealogy concludes, Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, we don't have the father of Joseph. The father of Mary. And we say, as Mary's mother, Jehoiakim. Now I recall. But he's not in the genealogy. But the point, of course, is that Mary, and similarly Jesus, the genealogy marks and identifies them as human, having a human genealogy in the history of these 3 sets of 14 generations. It's a mystery beyond our capacity to understand, but what a rich and powerful blessing. And you can see the sequence of the nature of God through Christ and then in Mary. God is humble. Jesus is obedient. Mary is humble and obedient. Without Mary, there'd be no Jesus. Prayed with somebody on Saturday evening about a particular concern. And in the course of the conversation, the person said 2 or 3 times, well, we do have free will, right? I said, yeah, but you're not helping yourself if your will is way over here, and you know God's will is over here somewhere. You still have free will, but it's not going to end well for you if your will is kind of somewhere else, and you know God's will might be somewhere else. Mary had free will. She could have said no. Now, I say really somewhat tongue-in-cheek, could there have been others that God had asked before Mary that said no? I don't think so. Because scripturally we're told that Mary was prepared before time, so that in her time she was born in the Immaculate Conception without the burden of original sin. You recall, of course, that on December 8th, we celebrated the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, and now, 9 months later, ladies, you know what that means, Mary is born of the womb of Anne, her mother, and her father Jehoiakim. So Mary, fully human. But it's not to be missed today that although we may be more inclined to think more often of God's almightiness, God's mighty power, the reality is God is humble. Almighty, and I like to say it because I think it's very cool, but God is all-powerful. He could do anything and have things exactly the way the divine wants. But God's almighty nature is unlimited, unmerited, undeserved, freely given self-surrender. God surrenders all that God is. First, for our creation, God didn't need a creation. They had a perfectly loving family getting along swimmingly well, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But the nature of love goes forth. It gives life. It goes forth from itself. So Jesus humbles himself, as we'll hear on Sunday, in the exaltation of the cross. He did not deem equality with God something to be grasped or clung on to. Rather, he emptied himself, taking the human form. Jesus was humble and obedient. The obedience of Jesus breaks or destroys the disobedience of Adam, humanity. And now Mary, in the work of the Immaculate Conception, freed from the burden and the confusion, the chaos of original sin, Mary herself is humble and obedient. Not sure why it struck me, but I think it was the opening sentence in the Word Among Us today. Have you ever offered your mother a birthday party? I don't think we ever did. Most moms don't get birthday parties. Moms have birthday parties for their kids. Well, that came out of nowhere. But today, in a very real way, we're celebrating the birthday party of Mary, if you will, and her life of humility. Now, that reflection went on to say that Mary really lived a rather quiet and simple life. I don't think that's really true. Well, she did until she got to the old age of 15, when she was being prepared to have the birth of Jesus. After that, there was no parameters on her life. She was the first. As the baptismal rite says, Mary was the first and the best of teachers of Jesus, with Joachim, the father, Joseph. But look at the influence of the nature and the personality of Jesus, whose nature was divine but also human, the impact that Mary, as mother and first former and teacher, had upon Jesus. Today we celebrate and honor Mary and the fact that she was not only mother but became the first disciple. Mary was obedient to her son. She traveled with him. She listened to his words. She saw and ponders his signs and wonders, his miracles, and ultimately she stood with him at the foot of the cross, whereupon she became our mother, mother of the church. Behold your mother, behold your son, to John the disciple. We are all the beloved disciple to whom Mary has been given. We honor Mary today in her undeniable and powerfully significant role in the work of our redemption. May God be praised. May Jesus be revealed. Mary, of course, would always point to Jesus. Mary knows it's not about her, but how deeply and ardently we need Mary now. As we did, remember, you of course remember when we were kids, when we always prayed for those pagan babies in Russia. Well, those kids are 75 years old now. We need to continue to pray through Mary for the same world, because Mary is also the intercessoress against all evil. The Immaculata Rosary group is meeting this evening, 7 o'clock, on the patio there. If you want to join them for the Rosary, to pray and honor Mary, a bit of a party, I suppose, on her behalf, but also for her intercession on behalf of the world. Praise be God for the Incarnation and Mary's yes that gives us the fruit of our redemption.